Hello and welcome back to another Player 2 preview discussion. My name is Paul James. Today I'm joined by Player 2 editor and legend, Matt Houston. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. We're testing the internet gods, so let's go. Let's talk.
Yeah, I mean,
Dolmen.
if anyone's tuned in recently, they would have noticed that you've and we've kind of half addressed it anyway, that you've been doing like Halo review discussion was. That was at work. I think Forza, we did the same. Like we're making do while your internet's currently out of action, or largely out of action. You've got a stopgap.
I've got a Starlink, but it's pretty good. But it just these sort of things it struggles with a little bit.
So anyone who's watching on video, excuse Matt if maybe gets a bit pixelated at times, maybe even potentially freezes. The audio will still be there, and he's got plenty of awesome thoughts to share about Dolmen from Prime Matter.
Well,
we saw the game.
Are they awesome?
Well, you've got awesome thoughts about the game. We'll talk more about the game in a moment. The game was announced, debuted at E3 time this year. You got a little head start on the game, but everyone's caught up now, and we've now both had a bit of hands-on with the game, so we'll share some thoughts on it. What do you think?
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's very easy to categorize. It's a
going for a Souls.
Lower budget Dark Souls, and it doesn't even try to hide that.
It's not what I expected, obviously, though, at the beginning there. Like
it's
when the game was first premiered, I should say.
Yeah.
I think for a Dead Space style thing than a Demon Souls or Souls thing.
I think that's a fair comparison to make too. You know, Dead Space is very much in the, I guess, theme of the world. It's in space. It's in a kind of derelict mining area for this crystal, which is conveniently called Dolmen. It's very much a Dark Souls like game. It has a few little spins on the formula, but it's really easy to say if you're going to like this without even opening it up. Like if you liked those challenging games, you're probably going to get at least some sort of kick out of this game.
Yeah, it may not be of the same Souls caliber, I guess, in terms of quality.
Yeah,
it certainly does look and feel a little bit budget, but it's still pretty enjoyable. And there's the challenge there. Like it kicks my ass just like a Souls game does, just like Elden Ring does. I've played more of these Souls or Souls-like games in this last 3 months than I would care to ever play again. Between Elden Ring and this, I'm about done. But yeah, I mean, it looks and plays. It's a bit budget. It even sounds a bit budget. There was a character there that straight like as you begin the game, there's a little bit of narration going on at the beginning. I swear that's the same voice actor who voiced Flood from Mario Sunshine.
I couldn't tell you. I never played Mario Sunshine.
Oh no, but like it's just horrible. It was just horrible, like wooden mechanical sort of voice acting. That I don't think it was an intentional thing. It just
it feels like there's some serious balancing to do.
Yeah.
I think that's its biggest issue at the moment is the balance. I think animations go a bit long for this sort of game. So, you got to have the timing and be able to pull out of moves to be able to dodge enemies and learn their patterns. And too often you get caught in your animations.
But that can also be some of the main attractions for some of the Souls games.
That can be, but I think it's not responsive enough.
Okay, that's fair.
At the moment it feels like it's a little too slow in the actions. And it's very, very easy to get caught in an animation, even just on a 2-hit. Like if you just hit twice, it's very easy to get caught against some of those enemies.
Yeah,
once you reach, there's an enemy when you kind of just getting around the first area that's got a ninja sort of robot thing going on.
Yeah, I know the one.
And getting caught up in him, and you're in quite a tight room too, so there's not a lot of room to dodge. So timing is essential in it, and I just found even taking one hit was almost too risky at times. So I think they just need to tighten some of those little loose areas up to be considered in at least the same breath as something like the Surge or
that next tier down.
That next tier, not quite like everything's going to be.
Everyone will compare to a FromSoft game.
But I think it has the potential there. It's just got some work that needs done.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there is kind of that next tier down, as you said, the Surges and the like, Lords of the Fallen, that sort of thing, that are all kind of on that next tier down, and there's an opportunity and that's not. I'm trying not to be too disparaging to them, but what FromSoft of the standard that they've set with all their titles over the years, and again highlighted by Elden Ring most recently with the preview, the CNT, which is a horrible acronym, but what they've done there, like they are a level above, and the rest are chasing. And there's no reason why Dolmen can't be in that pack, but there are, as you've kind of highlighted, some loose threads that they need to be tidied up, and from the gameplay sense to the presentational sense as well, it's a bit rough in the edges even in that space.
Yeah, and it is early, like it is a preview build, so there's no reason to say they can't fix this before release. I think, what is it, March or February it's scheduled? I can't remember.
Is it?
I can't remember,
that's
honestly.
actually...
I think it's still a little way away.
Yeah. I hope, and I don't mean this in a hugely disparaging way, I hope they actually take a bit longer. I feel like, I guess, 2.5 months, if you're right about March, for example, like 2.5 months from now isn't a lot of time when you factor in the holiday period and all of those sorts of things. It's not a huge amount of time, so I'd imagine that I'd love to see the game be closer to 12 months away and just really double down on the things you've discussed, that presentational aspect, all those sort of things, and have a really, really rock solid game that people potentially fall in love with, even if it's not of that same caliber as Elden Ring, that it's one that can at least be
absolutely. And like games like The Surge have their audience. They really do. I actually really enjoyed The Surge. Of all the Souls games, I probably enjoyed it the most.
Yeah. Not to mention also, if they launch in March, they're launching up against Elden Ring, and that's just a death sentence. So
I think a June, July release would probably be a smarter one. It feels like that sort of June, July game. The type of thing they might go, hey, and it's available now at E3, sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be.
It could possibly that sort of area. I think there's potential there, though. I quite enjoyed the addition of the range combat. I think that works well. I think the way health works is really good in this one, in that it's related to your energy. So instead of having flasks to heal your health like you do in Dark Souls, you have vials that will refill your energy, and that energy is your source of like attack abilities. It's a source of healing. Kind of it's the central pool for all your abilities, including healing. So if you're happy to just slug it out with basic moves, you can just refill your health quite a few times. Not just the standard 3 flask sort of system that most of them use. So it's just another wrinkle to the formula. It's not game changing, but I actually quite liked it. I felt that was a nicer, easier way to bring people in, and it's not quite as unforgiving.
No, I mean, I think you're onto something there. Like in terms of giving players something extra to do post game as well. You can challenge players to, like, you've got the stock standard playthrough, which is maybe do it your way, and if you want to use it for health, whatever. Or you can commit to not using those. Like you can kind of artificially create your own rule set, which is, okay, I'm not going to use any of the energy for healing. I've got to push my way through this skills only and use that for badass moves or whatever the case happens to be. It's and there is that constant risk and reward that comes from that decision making you've got to make as well. So I can get right around what they're going for there. The leveling kind of complements that a little bit. That kind of, I guess, it still works similarly to kind of core Souls games anyway, but that can kind of lean into.
It's a bit harder to grind. It seems like grinding's maybe not an option in this game so much.
I didn't backtrack too much, so I don't know, but
it's hard in a demo situation. We're trying to see as much as we can in as little time as possible, and this sort of game doesn't really lend itself to that.
Yeah, they want you to be meticulous.
I think what it needs to do more than anything is concentrate on giving people the time to, I guess, experience what it has to offer. And a preview isn't the ideal way to do that. Trying to see the whole game, well, not the whole game, but as much as we've been given in a short time is not ideal for this sort of game. It should be taken slowly, taken with respect, and maybe there is the opportunity to grind a little bit and boost yourself for some of the battles. And also, obviously, that sort of grinding improves skill level as well. So
Yeah.
it's of benefit to the player to do anyway.
That makes sense. You could see little opportunities to backtrack just a tiny bit, like at the very beginning of the game. You kind of, or at least the demo, I should say. You kind of walk down a little ramp there. There's some enemies. There's one that's trying to jump you. There's a little bit of a dead spacey style thing where he's kind of hidden around the corner and it jumps out to try and get you. But then to the left, there's a couple of enemies in there that you can take out as well. But there's a locked door, and that's kind of tempting you if you recall it, like a Metroidvania.
Yep.
They go, well, I could go back and if I can get the right thing, whether it's the key or what it is, like they're kind of encouraging you to
explore.
To explore a little bit. So you're right. The circumstance is not necessarily ideal for that. If you're trying to really, there's only so much you can kind of do when you're trying to play this thing, play it thoroughly, explore everything, but also you've got a limited window to work with. But you can see what they're going for in that respect, and I appreciate that. Your point before about the third person shooting is good, and it does work mostly pretty well, and it does complement. Like it's kind of nice. Again, we're talking Souls games. This is a nice blend of that melee and shooting aspect, things that we see from the Surge, but also the more traditional up close and personal thing.
Yeah.
And the shooting, I didn't really have too many concerns about that at all. The lock on works mostly pretty well as well.
It's not going to kill enemies, but it's certainly weaken them enough that
or drop some effects on them, slow them down.
Yeah, it can also help with crowd control and things like that.
Yeah.
Just whittling down maybe one or two weaker enemies before the rest of them get to you.
Exactly. That's cool.
It's a bit of a keep away to add to get yourself in a good position. I guess I used it quite a bit against those flame throwing guys. As a keep away until I could find myself in a good position to actually battle them. Because I did notice one of the rougher edges is combat on stairs and things like that is horrendous.
Yeah, right.
The hit detection is pretty bad there, and that's one of the things they will need to tighten up.
I was just a bitch and tried to get away from the stairs as fast as I can. So I didn't necessarily find that, but that's only because my circumstances didn't.
I found it, so I had to do that. You had to find a flat area. So that's a bit disappointing. So I think that needs fixing up there because
fair enough.
It was obvious that I was hitting, but it wasn't connecting, and it was obvious that the enemy was hitting and he wasn't connecting. So there was kind of a disconnect there with the varied height levels, I guess. So hopefully that's just a pre-game.
Yeah,
glitch thing,
preview builds and all those sorts of things to refine and polish. I did hang on a little bit for some of the presentational stuff before, but I will shout out, and we were both playing it on PC. Now I don't know if you were mouse and keyboard. I know you're a fairly competent PC player. I don't know if you were rocking the mouse and keyboard or whether you used a controller. I used a controller, but I did notice, just conveniently, the fact that I was still plugged in and at the computer here, just the finer details. I've got myself a Razer RGB keyboard, and the really cool effect that when you die, and I can't remember what resyncing or whatever it was called, kind of you're getting tossed back into the game. There was this
timeline
fantastic
erase.
Effect. Yeah, that's right, the timeline thing. Some really cool effects with what they were doing with the keyboard there, like that was fantastic. They're very minor things that most people they might be playing on consoles and they'll never see. But it was a nice little nod there that I quite enjoyed. And maybe look, I know a lot more games do this than just Dolmen.
Yeah.
I obviously just don't spend a lot of time on PC, but it was a nice effect. It worked really well with what the setting was. Yeah, like it fit, as opposed to some games which I've messed around with a few since getting a decent PC. They might explode with some colors, or look, it's all red now because there was there's fire around. But this was contextual and it looked right, like designed and executed properly. It was fantastic, and I wasn't expecting it. Especially from a preview build, I just wasn't expecting that sort of minor feature to be there, but it was, and it was cool. So,
they've obviously built it in with from the start. I think the Razer and Mob like that give the developers tools to implement it fairly easily. I think so, and then it's up to the developers on how they're going to use it. And obviously here they've used it pretty well.
Any other thoughts on the game at all?
Yeah, look, I'm not writing it off. I think there is potential there. I think there is, a great solid start. It does need tweaking though, otherwise it will bomb.
Yeah.
And I'm really confident in saying that it doesn't stand up to the current crop of this as it is.
Yeah.
So
even the likes of Mortal Shell, as a fairly recent example and one that people are getting en masse through PlayStation Plus at the moment, this stands up strongly over. Mortal Shell stands strongly over this one. So there's some stuff to be done. You're completely right there. There's some work that still needs to be done, but they're on the right track. And if they can just refine those elements, they'll come up with a decent enough game. It's just those finer points.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's clearly talented development behind this game. Like, this is not a slap together Souls-like.
No.
This is something that's been put together with care, and they've thought about it. I quite like the level design too. I thought that was quite interesting. Lots of little nooks and crannies for things to hide in, and also enemies to hide in.
Yeah, it's Dead Space and Dark Souls crossed
combined,
with some potential that just needs to be tapped.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's 100% the chance that this can be good as long as developers take the time to get it there, and there's no, I guess, publisher pressure or anything to get it out the door quickly. They can just release it when it's ready.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Matt. We're done with this one. Dolmen, look out for the game next year. When that eventually emerges remains to be seen. Stay tuned to the site and various press releases and those sort of things for more info on Dolmen as it gets closer next year. Where can people find you online?
You find me at Huso81.
And we lost you for a moment there, so I'll finish that off. In case anyone didn't catch that, Huso81, Player 2 AU for the website. You can find me at Paul James Games. I hope Matt comes back in these last few seconds before we disappear. There he is. I just shouted you out, Huso81. The website's Player 2 AU. Paul James Games for me. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. That was Dolmen. Look out for more of it later. See you later, everyone.
Back. Bye. I'm leaving.